When we ask someone, why did you say no to that? They'll have a really valid reason.
Yeah.
We just need to listen and go, oh, your boundaries are different to mine. We as leaders need to model yes and no and why, and share like, oh, I said yes because this reason. I said no because of this reason.
Sometimes I would be shocked when a young person would also turn down an opportunity, because I'd be like, do you understand what you're throwing away? Or that would have been so awesome for you, and not giving them a chance to maybe rationalize or provide a why. Something that we can do as educators is not have them make a decision on the spot.
If you reflect on your values, it doesn't necessarily always make the decision easy, but it does make the decision simpler. It's going to be an easy conversation, easy for you to work out, oh, what's my why and what is my rationale? It might support you to choose your yeses and choose your nos.
Podclass acknowledges the traditional and true custodians of the land we meet on here today, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. We're grateful to be here.
So no one told you teaching was gonna be this way. Your lesson plans are jokes, your patience broke, you're feeling in disarray. It's like you're always stuck in report writing, when it hasn't been your day, your week, your month, or even your school year. But I'll be here for you
when the students start to riot.
I'll be here for you
Even if your coffee's gone cold.
I'll be here for you, 'cause you're there for them too.
Hello and welcome back to Podclass. You are joined as always by your host, Skye. That would be me.
Hello, Amanda. That would be me.
We are missing our dear friend Will Masara, but in his place, 100% replacing him. No. But in his
the
place.
superior model.
We have the superior YLR employee. No. We are joined by Bonnie Ryanro. Bonnie joined us last week to talk all about the power of story and how it connects us. And today we are so lucky to be joined by her. And this is the one about the power of yes or no.
Ooh.
Welcome. Welcome, Bonnie.
Welcome, Bonnie.
Welcome me back.
Yes or no?
And I love when we were talking about this episode, you said something that was so powerful. You said you love the power of no for protecting your energy and maintaining quality, and you love the power of yes for doing things that stretch you even if you don't feel ready. And that is essentially the crux of what we want to unpack today, because I think we have become a bit of like a yes society. You know, there's a lot of people pleasing that goes around. There's a lot of wanting, you know, everyone to be included and not to let anyone down any of the
Don't
time.
have FOMO.
Yes,
I feel like
huge amount of FOMO.
Sorry to jump in so early to challenge that. But I do also feel there's a bit of a no rhetoric, but I think in a positive way that is unexpected from other generations. When we look at, like, say, for example, Gen Z entering the workforce, not agreeing to do like additional work that's outside of their role, saying no to things that aren't within like their job description or what they should be expected to do.
Yeah, maybe
without,
I was just reflecting on myself,
recognition.
to be honest.
But you know what I mean? But I feel like there's like
there's
a
bit
real
of both.
I think I was
There's a lot to
thinking
unpack
about
in both
myself
of
and
those
about
avenues.
teaching probably.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
So start us off, Bonnie.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, I feel like I'm really sitting in the thick of it, right? The reason why I said to you the other day that it's, you know, about protecting your energy is because I was saying yes to so much, and I'm such a yes person. Like I try and say yes to as much as I possibly can. I think it's a really big part of where I've found myself today. But every now and then I have to like really rein myself back in and be like, oh my gosh, I'm saying yes way too much. And there was actually an event, which you're both familiar with, the National Leadership Forum, which I was really excited that I was, wanted to go on, but I ended up
Which, by the way, is an incredible program that runs in Canberra every year with young people 18 to 25-year-olds.
And I was really excited to go, but I kind of like looked at my calendar and I was like, I actually don't think this is within my capacity at the moment. And if I want to continue to do quality work, I'm not going to be able to keep showing up 100% as myself for young people and continue serving them as best as I possibly can if I say yes to this thing. So that's where I kind of came from with the power of saying no to be able to say yes to other things. Yeah.
It's a no in service of yourself, right?
Well, yes.
Yeah.
And also
To
like
protect
no
you.
in service of showing up to serve other people.
Yeah. So I'm curious, when you're making a decision about whether to do something or not, so whether something is a yes or is a no for you, are you someone who like, do you play out both scenarios and see like, so if I say yes, this is what this will lead, and play it out and vice versa for no, or is it different to that?
For me personally, I think I'm pretty aware of like when I'm getting to a point of like, oh, I probably should say no. Like I was saying, I'm such a yes person. So I'll say yes and yes and yes and yes up until like a point where I'm like, oh, hang on. I probably either need to like play it out in both ways, or I just need to say no and protect my energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always find that fascinating because I'm someone who plays out scenarios in my head. So I'll like run the rhetoric. Like I say yes, what happens next? Then what happens? Then what happens? If I say no, what happens next? Then what happens? Then what happens? And that's how I often make a lot of decisions.
That there's a little
those
surveys where it's like,
diagrams.
have you done this? No. Or yes, I've done that. And it takes you to the next step.
Yeah, I did one of those the other day and it was like, should you have a piece of chocolate cake? And all answers led to yes.
Of course.
Should you have a nap? All answers lead to yes.
Okay, so that's a little about no. I'd love to unpack yes a little more, and especially yes when you're maybe not feeling quite ready. Or when it maybe feels a bit nervy or it feels a bit out of the comfort zone or it feels a bit uncomfortable. Why are these yeses so important for us?
Because I think I've described this for so many people that the power of saying yes for me has kind of put me in this room, and I have this image in my head of like, you know that room in Alice in Wonderland where there's all these doors and she's trying to figure out, but they're all locked. For me, none of them were locked. I was just in a room and there's like 15 to 20 doors, but they're all unlocked. And the power of me saying yes was me standing in that room and I can open any door that I want, right?
That's such a powerful image.
Yeah,
I
it's
love
really
that.
cool. And it's my favorite thing, but it stemmed from, and it's one of my favorite memories is Amanda standing with me at a camp that we were doing.
I think I was a bit harsh. Anyway, continue.
Well, the wording may have been. We were standing on this fireplace at a camp that we were doing, and
didn't I turn to you and say, what are you doing?
Yeah, she was like, what are you doing? And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, that was just incredible. Like, I feel like this is your place. Like, I'd just come off of doing like a piece in front of however many students we had.
So not there like formally as a facilitator or anything?
No,
just
I was
like
a facilitator in training. I was volunteering,
but
and I was
at the time
really
you
nervous.
were working full time and you had been umming and ahhing. You were in the room and you were like, here's all of my options. What am I going to do?
Yes.
And to me, I could like feel this buzz from like your soul. And I was like,
so for
this,
for a long
the
time,
leap decision about whether to leap into this full time.
Correct. For a long time, I'd found myself standing in that room, but all the doors were locked. And this moment was when all of them unlocked because Amanda was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I don't actually know. And she's like, this is where you belong. Like, just give it a go. You've just got to say yes. So then I went and I ended up resigning literally that next week, which like amazing because I'd worked in this job for 6 years and it was my next moment to move along, right?
Yeah.
So I said yes, and then all of those doors just unlocked. And
here you are as the program manager.
Was it terrifying? Absolutely. Did I absolutely pack it? Yes. It was. I was sweating a lot, but it was incredible. Yeah. That's the power of yes.
Love that. Love the power of yes. Love to link this back to young people and how we support them and how we effectively support them.
Yeah.
I feel like this is something that our young people grapple with all the time as well, to know like what is best for them.
Yes.
And they should have autonomy over their lives and decisions and choices that they make.
Yes.
How do you know what to say yes to and what to say no to? And if you are supporting a young person, like how do we best encourage them or guide them or mentor them to help them make those decisions?
Yeah, well, when you were reflecting just before on the generation now, I agree with you. I think there's a lot of young people which are saying no to a lot more things when they are, recognizing that it's a boundary for them. And I think that that's a really positive thing. But I think when working with other generations, and it's something that I struggled with as a manager in my last role, I found it sometimes really frustrating when people said no to things. I was like, what? And I think like when we are supporting young people and when we're thinking about it is that I think it's just curiosity and just asking why and respecting someone's boundary and honestly, I think 9 times out of 10 when we ask someone or like, why did you say no to that? They'll have a really valid reason. And we just need to listen and go, oh, your boundaries are different to mine. And that's such a big conversation that I'm finding myself having with so many young people is we're encouraging them to make boundaries. And then the second that they put one up, sometimes we're a bit too quick to tear it down.
Yeah,
so,
such a good point.
Yeah. So like we as leaders need to model yes and no and why and share like, oh, I said yes because this reason. I said no because of this reason.
And I
then
think that providing that rationale actually nurtures autonomy.
100%.
Even if we have to say no to a young person sometimes, if we provide the rationale, if we provide our thinking, whether it be at home, whether it be in a classroom, in a program, wherever it is, that actually supports autonomy compared to thwarting autonomy, which would sound like, well, it's no because I said so.
Oh,
You know?
yeah.
And I think same goes when we offer or young people are presented with opportunities, right, that they can choose to say yes or no to. I think something I used to do when I was working with young people, I think similar to what you just said, Bonnie, sometimes I would be really shocked when a young person would also turn down an opportunity because I'd be like, do you understand what you're throwing away? Or that would have been so awesome for you, and not giving them a chance to maybe rationalize or provide a why. But I think something that we can do as educators or as people supporting young people is not have them make a decision on the spot either, to be able to present an opportunity and say, hey, I don't know, something simple. Okay, our year level's just done this awesome volunteering initiative. I would love it if you would love to speak at our school assembly about it and share with the school. Is that something you'd be interested in doing? It'd be a fantastic opportunity for your public speaking growth, development, yada, yada, yada. And rather than expecting them to say yes on the spot or no on the spot, because we know that young people want to say yes, particularly if they hold you in like a hierarchical position or position of authority. They want to be perceived as being like respected by you. So they're going to naturally be more inclined to say yes, to not disappoint you or let you down. And that's sometimes thwarting their autonomy, which is what Amanda was just talking about. So what we can do instead is we can like offer it as a proposition and say, hey, we'd love for you to consider this. Go away and think about it, sleep on it tonight, and we'll catch up tomorrow at morning tea. Then you come and tell me yes. But if you say no, please know there's no expectation, no hard feelings.
Yeah.
And I think being more permission-based
really
with allowing them to go either way, and not letting them, like assuring them that whatever the decision is, like our opinion doesn't change as a result of that decision.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. If you are looking to support the young people in your school or your community to develop their public speaking skills, Youth Engagement Project facilitates public speaking workshops for young people. We follow our 4C public speaking framework, where we explore courage, communication, clarity, and connection, the skills and tools aligned with all 4 of those C's that are essential for effective public speaking skills and communication in general. Give us a call or send us a message. So, what can we do as leaders, as teachers in the worlds of young people to support them to make those yes and no decisions for themselves in a self-determined way?
Yeah.
What would your advice be?
I mean, Skye's pretty much like summed it up. I think it really is that support, right? And offering and prefacing like there is no pressure. Like whatever you feel is right for you. And I think we've spoken about it earlier as well. Just being there to support, right? And just you're like, I'm here, like whatever you want to chat about, I'm right here. And if it works for you, then
Sorry to jump in, Bon.
Please.
But I've also heard you speak specifically about this with young people before, and I feel like it's relevant to this conversation. You've spoken a lot about making values-aligned decisions.
Yeah.
So what is that? Can you talk to us about what does it mean to make a values-aligned decision, and how would you support a young person to do that?
Yeah. Well, I guess it comes back to the support and asking them what feels right for them, and usually that comes down to what are the things that are most important to them. So like what you were saying before in terms of is this something that you'd be interested in? If they're leaning towards yes and they might seem hesitant to say yes, it's like, well, is this a topic that's important to you? Is this something that you're really interested in exploring? Because if it's not, that's okay. And there's been a lot of choices in my life where people have come to me and said, is this something that you really care about? And whilst it's been something that I've, been interested in, I've ended up having to weigh up, my values and think about, does this really align with who I am? So it might actually mean probably some more meaty discussions with your young people, which is totally fine, but to figure out, what are their values? What are they most passionate about? What are they interested in?
And I think when we're not making a values-aligned decision, right, also acknowledging, and that can be another part of supporting a young person, helping them identify what it maybe feels like in their bodies when you do make a decision that doesn't align with your values. Because I know personally, sometimes just making the decision. So just decide, maybe I'm unsure, but I just say yes.
Yeah.
And then I wait and see how that feels. And sometimes I'm like, oh, that feels icky in my body. I shouldn't have said that. I get that sinking stomach feeling. I start to feel a bit like sweaty or shaky or whatever it might be. It's usually a pretty strong indication from my nervous system that I probably sometimes I made the wrong choice and I should have said no.
And then there's a whole different level of shame, right? When you say yes or no, and then you're like, oh, actually maybe I kind of want to change my choice. I want to change my decision. And I think like I felt a lot of pressure in high school for having to say either yes or no. And then I'm like, oh, you know, and it wasn't like a fear of missing out thing, right? It was that feeling.
Yeah.
It was that gut feeling that you felt, oh, maybe I should have actually given it a go. And that's okay to change your mind as well. Like we see it on camps, right? Like you're going abseiling and you're like, absolutely not. Like I'm not doing this. And then you see all of your friends do it and you're like, oh, if they can do it, I'm brave enough to do it as well. And then it's like, oh no, you've missed out. You know, I will always try and make space. Like when someone's kind of said
For
yes.
a late yes.
Yeah, like
100%.
Yeah, or a late no. Like,
Yes.
oh, that's okay. Like you don't have to abseil down the cliff crevice if you don't want to. It's fine, right? Like,
And there'll be people that listen to this, right? And they'll go, oh, well, that's the snowflake generation. That's just protecting them. That's, you know what I mean? Like they need to be able to do hard things and they need to be able to own the choices that they make and stick to their word. And I feel like it's a really old school mentality and it can be really dangerous, like way of thinking as well.
I also don't think I think that's an old rhetoric that when we make a decision, we have to stick to it. Like if you are going to change your mind.
And it's dangerous.
Yes,
it's actually
it is
dangerous.
dangerous.
Yeah.
If you are going to change your, like that is not a rhetoric we need to stick to, especially modeling it to our young people.
Well, it means there's no room for change, right?
Exactly.
As an individual and no room for growth.
But I think let's normalize if we're going to change our mind or if we're going to say no to someone or an opportunity, go in with the rationale because we spoke about storytelling last week. Like there is no one you can't understand, nothing you can't understand if you don't know the story.
Yeah.
So if we're unsure how to approach it, know your why.
Yeah.
And like I love the saying when it does come to values aligned decision making, that if you reflect on your values, if you reflect on if it's aligned to your values, it doesn't necessarily always make the decision easy, but it does make the decision simpler.
Yeah.
You know? And so that yes or that no could be a simpler decision. It doesn't mean it's going to be an easy conversation or easy for you to work out, oh, what's my why and what is my rationale here or whatever it is. But it might be a lot simpler and it might support you to choose your yeses and choose your nos. And I think for me personally, I'm learning a lot about saying no. I also am a yes person, exactly like you, Bon, and I really, really struggle to say no. And that's something that I have to work on for myself, but also to model to young people as well. And to be quite frank, exactly like you've both said, I think I'm learning from Gen Z on this topic.
Oh, yeah.
100%. And I was like always the person in schools, right? And this is such a dangerous culture in school systems. But the saying goes, if you want something done, ask the busiest teacher.
Oh my goodness.
And that was always me, right? Like running around getting things done. And I'd people say, oh, do you mind just doing this one thing? Or can you check in with that student or da-da-da-da? And because again, I was a yes person in that system, I'd always be like, oh yeah, of course. And then later be kicking myself and going, that's not my job. That's not my responsibility. It's piling onto my burnout. I will say, since becoming a mum, 16 weeks in and I'm an expert. No.
All there is to know, you know it.
but honestly, but 16 weeks in, it really has changed. My values have changed and shifted,
for
right?
sure.
There's like, I have I wouldn't say like a completely new set of values, but what I value has been really heightened and what's important has been really heightened,
Different meanings.
made really clear for me. And it has made my no's so much easier. It has made my boundaries so much clearer because I've been able to sit with, realign with my values and know what actually is an important yes and what's an important no. Because sometimes some yeses and no's aren't actually important.
No.
We inflate them and we put this importance on them.
and they take
this,
energy and they
it's
take
like,
effort.
It's like this life or death, yes or no. And it's like, well no, if I say
What's the
no,
big
someone
deal?
else will do it.
Yeah.
If I say yes, great, it's a great opportunity, but it could also be an opportunity for someone else
Yeah.
too. So I think it's if you can step your ego out of yes or no questions as well. If I say no, will I be perceived as not being capable? Will I be perceived as not being good enough? Will I be perceived as not being hardworking? Which particularly for educators listening, like that's
Huge.
such a big thing.
Huge.
And I think that's, if we can sit with that, if we can remove our ego, align it with our values and think about what is best for our well-being when we're faced with a yes or no, and then model that for our young people, then that's a really great place to start.
Yeah, I love that.
I agree.
Yeah. So you're think about your yeses and your nos. It's okay to say yes, even if you don't feel ready. Even if it feels like it's a bit of a growth opportunity, it's also okay to say no if it's not right, or you don't have the energy or the effort or the time, or it's not your job or your responsibility. Both of those things are okay. It is the power of yes and no. We are Podclass. Thank you, Bonnie, for joining us. It's been wonderful. And we will see you all next week.
See you next week. Bye-bye.
I'll be here for you, 'cause you're there for them too.
Thanks so much for tuning into Podclass. If you've enjoyed this episode, we would adore it if you could go on to Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you listen to your podcasts, and leave us a review. 5 stars would be lovely. We would love to get this podcast into as many ears as possible so we can help and support as many people as possible who help young people. And if you're not already doing so, please go along to Instagram and follow us at podclass.aus.